Hi, this is Bill Hartzer, and this is the Digital Marketing Podcast with Bill Hartzer for Thursday, December 17th, 2020. And wanted to kind of focus a little bit on links today, links to your website. In fact, the reason why I want to focus on this in particular is that we have a new feature that has been released by a company called Majestic.com that I think is going to change digital marketing a lot and starting today. And it has changed what I'm doing and how I'm looking and approaching SEO as it comes down to links in particular. And the reason being is that traditionally link tools are basically crawlers, like search engine crawlers that crawl the internet, and 24/7 they're constantly crawling, and they're basically recording links from one website to another. And traditionally, we have for years been able to see, who links to us, and that's great. That's great to see, and we need to see who links to us. But when it comes down to it, the search engines themselves, they can actually see links on a 10,000 foot view of the, or even let's say 100,000 foot view of the internet. And they can see entire networks of links. They can see, well, over here, let's say, there's a bunch of sites that are linking to each other. And then that all those websites link to another website that links to another website that then links over to your website. The search engines can see that at a high level. However, traditionally, as digital marketers, as SEOs, we have never been able to see that. We've never been able to take the 10,000 foot view. We've only been able, and traditional SEO link building or linking tools or link tools have only recorded and told us, okay, here are the websites that are linking to you. Even Google themselves, in Google Search Console, if you have it, the Google Search Console verified, they give you a list of websites that are linking to you. That's great, and it's great information, and it has its relevant to search engine rankings. But what if there's a website that has, maybe that looks good, it looks like it's a great website, but it has, maybe that website only has 5 or 10 links to it, and even though it looks great, it does, and that's linking to you. Well, what if there's another website that has hundreds and hundreds of links, from links to links, links from websites that link to websites to link to websites, that is a whole network of sites that on that topic that then links over to another, to that, and that particular site has a lot of links, but it has, has not only has links, but it has links to links to links of websites that then point to them. That would be a more powerful link to have, even though it may not be on the surface, it may not look like a powerful link. But if we're able to see how much it has, how much power from other websites, and websites links that are from other websites links that are then linking in a whole hierarchy of the internet, that then funnel through one particular link that would link to your website, that would be much more powerful. Right now, we can only see one level And we call that the first tier, the tier 1 links that are linking to us. And SEO, we talk about tier 1 links. Those are the ones that, that one website links to your website. Tier 2 is the links, tier 2 links are links that link to another website that then links to you. So they are a tiered level, the second tier. There's even tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, tier 16. But in all, the web is a complex set of links. So we need to what if we could fully understand not only the links that are linking directly to us, and sure, we have that data, but what about the links that are then linking to us? Is there a whole network, or what we call a private blog network, a private network of sites that's artificially created that's then linking to another site that's linking to us? That can be good, that can be bad. And it could be, but we don't know, because currently we can only see one level. Well, a company called Majestic.com, one of the earliest companies to start giving us link data, they have link data back as far as 2005, I believe, when they started crawling the web and reporting on links. Let me take a look. Let me share my screen here, my main screen. And let's take a look over here at Majestic in particular. And in particular with Majestic, let me close a couple things, make it a little easier here for me to see things in particular. So let's look at Majestic here. And I've pulled up my particular site, billhartzer.com, and we have the links. Traditionally, we can see, okay, a list of links. These are all the links and how they're linking. And we can export this data, and we can see this data particularly in a, let's say, in a spreadsheet form. We can sort it. We can sort it different ways. We can see, for example, all the links based on the anchor text. And these are links that, anchor text is the actual clickable text that describes the link. Obviously, with billhartzer.com, people most typically link to me with my name, and that's clickable, and it clicks over to my site. Let's take a look at the link graph and what, this new tool that Majestic has, in particular, the link graph. When we create a list of backlinks, we actually end up with what we call a link graph. And this is actually a technology that's out there that allows us to kind of zoom in. And it takes a second because it's, there's a lot of links in this case. But we can look at this, and we can look and see, the links to our site. And not only can we see, the links from the home to the home page, but we can see who's linking, but we can see the tiers of links. So is that not only can we see, for example, Search Engine Journal is linking to me, but we can actually see, the second tier, the third tier, TechMeme, TechMeme.com, 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 they're linking to Search Engine Journal that then links over to me. So, well, maybe if we are enterprising, maybe that's, that is a good link to have. If it is, then why not try and get a link from TechMeme.com directly to my site? Okay, that's just an example. That's looking at tier 2. And that would be, normally if we look at all the links to our site, sure, we would see a link to Search Engine Journal, but we don't see that unless we manually go to look at all the links from Search Engine Journal. We don't see the powerful links that are going to Search Engine Journal that are then linking to us. So TechMeme might be a good link to have because it's on the tier 2. We can actually see these tier 2s. What also is important here is that we look at, if we zoom, I'm going to zoom out here and look at this at a higher level and kind of look at it as a map or a graph. And let's think of it as a map, for example. We have links, we have stuff on the north, the south, the east, the west. What we have here is that we have clusters of links. This is what I would call a more natural link profile, because as we look at this cluster of links, what we don't have here is a whole kind of network of sites where all of a sudden a bunch of links link over to each other that then link over to you. Okay, what we want is something natural where, okay, we have a link and then that particular site has a lot of links, and then we have different, like I said, clusters of links. Let me show you an example of an unnatural, or a couple of examples here of what I would call unnatural links. Okay, and in this case, let's look at another one. Let's look at, I'm going to go over here and pick one. Let's at this particular site, because this one was interesting that I looked at earlier. I'm not worried about the site, but I'm worried a little bit more on the how that looks. Okay. And for example, what we can see here is we don't see as many natural clusters of links. It does fairly well, but as we look at the southeast, okay, as we start to look at the southeast quadrant of links to this particular site, okay, and we start to see a kind of a cluster of links that are in the southeast with a lot of websites that are linking to a lot of websites. And this is kind of a concern because it's not as natural. It's like these websites, are in a group of each other. And for some reason, all of these websites kind of link to each other, that then link over to this website. I'll show you another example in this case. And in this particular case, I'm going to show you one that is a little bit more extreme, and in the way that what's happening. And this particular case, another example. Now, like I said, this is such great technology now that we can actually see links and a link profile of a website, and we can see kind of networks of sites from a kind of a 10,000 foot view, if you will. And what's interesting with this particular site, and like I said, the site itself doesn't matter. But we're looking at a couple interesting things that pop out very clearly. I mean, I've only been looking at this, let's say, for 30 seconds, and instantly I see 3 different networks, clear networks of sites. And networks of sites kind of that can be a good thing, and it kind of can be a bad thing, depending on the network. And so what you would want to do is immediately investigate whether that is your website or whether it is, let's say, your competitor's website. Okay. And you want to, you look at this and say, okay, I see a network of sites that is in the southeast of the site. And those sites, and if I'm enterprise, if I want to investigate it, I can look in and see, all these websites link to each other. And, this guy links, this links to this link, this one, and this one links back to this one, and this links back. They link to each other. Maybe that's the same site owner that owns all those websites. And so they link to each other. Okay. Now, the other part is then there's another network. There's another larger network of sites that all link to each other. This guy links to that guy, and this website links to that website, and so forth. And then those all link to another website that then links to the target site. That's all another network of sites. What we kind of don't want to see here when we're looking at link graphs and looking at this 10,000 foot view of websites, we don't want to see a network. I mean, that's typically, not something that's natural on the internet, that, that site A links to site B that links back. And then that website, we don't want to see 20, 30, 40, 100, 1,000 websites all linking to each other in a network, because it's not natural. What's natural is you have a link from a website, and then that website has links from other websites. That it's not a case where you have a link from a website that has 25 other websites linking all to each other because the same guy owns all those websites. That typically is what happens. So there's two things. I mean, it could be innocent, typically innocent, like probably in this case, I own 50 domain names, and these are the 50 domain names that I have for sale. And if I go to one domain name, I want that person to see all the other 50 domain names I have for sale. That's natural, because maybe you have 50 domain names all on the same topic, and there's a good case, business case for saying that, well, if somebody may be interested in one of the domain names, they might be interested in maybe one of the others as well, or they might, that's good for domain selling. And in this case, we're looking at some domain related topics. Well, there's a couple of different ways to look at this. There's, if you're looking at a competitor who has kind of some networks of sites that are linking to them, then maybe they built those networks and to boost up certain websites that then are passing on, what we call link credit or link juice to the main website. Sure, there's, that's again still artificially done. That is something that the search engines can easily see whether or not they're giving credit to those networks. You could determine that. That's something, for another day to look in particular to try and figure that out. In this case, we certainly see some networks. Let me show you something else differently, though, kind of related. And we look in particular, let's look at a different network that's part of this. And if I can type it in here, let's look at a different network, which I know is a particular network that somebody's built. Okay, this is a little bit more extreme. This is not natural. The links on, I'm gonna not even zoom in. The links on the the northeast of this graph, the southeast, the east, the south, is natural. This is a very good example. Like I said, the ones on the Northeast, the East, the Southeast, those are natural links. The ones on the immediate West and the ones in the Northwest, those are blog networks, what we call PBNs. Those are a massive literally hundreds of links linking to each other. Site A is linking to site B, and site B is linking to site C, and site C is linking to site A. This is not natural. This is something that that the search engines can obviously very easily see. We don't know how they're seeing it. We don't know what technology they're using. But the fact of the matter is, this week, using Majestic's tool, we actually have a leg up now. We can actually see stuff like this. This to me is groundbreaking. This is something that allows us to sit back, I mean, as an SEO, and when I seen this, said, whoa, this is changing, because I can now see what the search engines can potentially see. I can see networks like this. I can, if I need to, if I think about, I can actually go in and, uh, you know, I could go in particular and tell Google that about this network. And I can maybe identify that the reason why somebody's ranking is because there's a network like this linking. And at the same time, we know that there are SEOs, or there are people doing search engine optimization that are creating networks like this. So we're able to actually see this data now, where previously we could not. A friend of mine, Danny Gavin, actually, I was talking to him about the link graph and this technology the other day about SEO. And what's interesting is he said to me, Bill, what is Google, what is Google going to do now? Now that we, as SEOs and internet marketers, as digital marketers, now that we can see networks of links that Google is promoting, or that Google is giving credit to, we can now report those to Google. What are they going to do? I mean, what are they going to do here? Because now we can see those. We can see what Google is actually giving credit to as far as rankings. And that's up to you. That's, ethically, you need to decide whether you can, whether you can, or whether you are going to report networks like that. And who you're gonna, who you're gonna report them to. At the same time, on the other hand, okay, let's think about it completely differently. When we have a network, and we can actually see them with the link graph like this, we can see them, and it's very clear. Is this something that we know we know a competitor is doing? Is this something that we need to actually do? Or better yet, is there something that are there sites that are part of a tier 2, tier 3 links that are seem to be very powerful, that are pointing to the competitor, but you don't have those links. We can actually, we can see links, but now we can see links to links, and we can see what actually influences certain things on the web. And we know that one particular site is linking to another, and that site is linking over. What if you were to look at, let's think about particularly white hat SEO, or just ethically, and why not? We have links. We have things like our profiles from the Better Business Bureau. We have links like our Twitter account. Okay, why don't we our Twitter social media profile links, so Twitter account links directly to our website. That's tier one. Consider the tier two. Let's build some links that are legitimate links, and maybe there's other websites that allow us to list our Twitter profile that we can link to that would be tier two and boost up our tier two links. Uh, and those tier two links would then link to our Twitter profile, or we have links that then link to our Twitter profile that then link over to our website. So we, as digital marketers, as SEOs, as people who are doing linking, one thing that we start to need to consider right now is the fact that we now have this technology. We have, through Majestic, we have the link graph. We are able to see links to links and links to links to links. We can see really what's going on a little bit better with our link profiles, whether something is natural link profile or whether it is something that we need to work on, if it's our website or if it's our client websites. One thing finally that I like to mention also is that there are those probably listening to this or watching this that build links, and they build networks of links. And like those two dark examples of on the link graph, you could see that they were very dark masses of links linking to each other. That's what I call a network. In this case, that particular owner of that network, they're not hiding that from Majestic. So they don't know that we know that there's a network there. That if that's a competitive situation, and there are ways, if you are needing to do that, there are ways to hide that network so that people like me and you cannot see those networks of sites. That can be a good thing, a bad thing, and so forth. So that site owner, if they owned all those websites, they wanted to hide that network, that what they would do is they would block the Majestic crawler from crawling those websites, and then Majestic would not be able to report that particular network, and that network would essentially go away, wouldn't exist. We need to understand also that people do that, and networks are like that, and in competitive niches and competitive areas, those networks do exist, and they do link, and they do block crawlers. So that said, if you do have any questions about seeing or thinking or anything around our tier 2, our tier 3, even just the concept of links and link building and linking, feel free to get in touch. I'm known as Bill Hartzer. Obviously, you can search for me. You can. I do have, this is, I believe, in the 48th episode of the Digital Marketing with Bill Hartzer podcast. I'll continue to give as much information about SEO and links and digital marketing. And I do have a lot of really great guests on the podcast who are scheduled for the end of 2020, but also beginning in 2021, some great episodes coming up. That said, feel free to subscribe, so forth, and watch my blog, billhartzer.com, for the latest episodes. This has been the Digital Marketing with Bill Hartzer podcast. Again, talking today about tier 2, tier 3, and what links and link building, and the fact of the matter is that we can actually now see links a lot differently than we have been able to in the past. Thank you again, Majestic. I do have to mention that, to be totally transparent, I am a Majestic brand ambassador. I have been for several years. But again, my point in my views and so forth, and being transparent here, This is just great technology, and that's why I am proud actually to have Majestic as my go-to tool for linking and so forth. And I'm so happy that they were able to bring this technology to every SEO, because it's out there, and everybody who has a Majestic plan can get access to the link graph, and really see a lot more of what's going on with links to their website. So that said, thanks again for watching. This is the Digital Marketing with Bill Hartzer podcast. We'll see you next time.